Hello, I'm Jane Winter. It is my great pleasure to host this segment of the Marin Women's Hall of Fame show. Since 1987, the Hall of Fame has inducted 140 Marin women of distinction, women who have made immense contributions to the county of Marin and its residents, as well as to the world beyond. Honorees have distinguished themselves in many fields: education, science, business, philanthropy, the arts, politics, law, philosophy, and religion. Each honoree has been a force for positive change in our community. It is a great privilege to acknowledge and document their contributions. And today, it is my great pleasure to introduce Florence Williams, who is being honored in the class of 2016 for her pioneering work in community service. And welcome.
Thank you, Jane. I am so honored to be part of this class of 2016. I don't believe it.
It's a great class, too.
It's a great class, I know.
I say that every year, though.
You say that every year?
Every year, because every year it is a great class.
But, yes, and when I look at the women that's part of this group, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's very good.
Yes.
So, Florence, you started life in Louisiana, Mansfield, Louisiana.
Yes.
And you came from a big family.
A big family.
How did growing up as part of a large family influence you?
Well, in my community, in that small town of about 30,000 people, everybody wrapped their arms around you. You talk about the wraparound approach, we had it. Mm-hmm. The extended family, and the kids couldn't get away with anything because someone in the community was always watching. And so it grounded me, you know, it really helped to ground the kids, all of us. I have 6 siblings, and we just had love all around us. We had discipline. We had learning that the parents and the community people taught us many things, not just in a book. Mm-hmm. They taught us how to cook. They taught us how to sew. They taught us how to use a hammer. They taught us how to dig ground. So we put our hands in dirt, and so it was just a very supportive wraparound environment that really helped to shape who I am today.
Well, it sounds like a great environment to grow up in, and a very stable and supportive community.
Yes, and this was on both my mother and father's side. My mother's family was a larger family, but on the father's side, they were just as supportive. Mm-hmm. So I was really blessed.
Great. So I understand that you're the first in your family on your maternal side to graduate from college.
Right.
And so I was interested in finding out a little bit more about, well, how did you decide what school you wanted to go to and what to study?
Thank you for asking. I started singing when I was 5 years old, and so in high school I was part of a choir. And so the schools came around to recruit. And so I had to do a solo for this group of recruiters. I was so scared. But I did. I remember doing My Country, Tears of Thee. Mm-hmm. And I received, the director of the choir received this letter, and I received this letter that I had won a 4-year scholarship to Wiley College in Marshall, Texas.
Oh, my goodness.
4 years, yeah, in music. However, music was just one of my minors because I majored in business education.
Okay.
And sociology, yes.
Well, I've heard you sing, and so I know you have a beautiful voice. So it doesn't surprise me that you got a 4-year scholarship.
Yes, yes.
So, kind of moving a little forward in your life,
yes.
After college, you completed a master's in community development and public service from the University of San Francisco,
yes.
Lone Mountain. Mm-hmm. And that's also where you completed your California teaching credentials. And you then spent, was it 33 years in the San Francisco Unified School District? You were voted Teacher of the Year in the city and county of San Francisco, and you were also selected as one of your students' favorite teachers.
Yes.
Okay, why did you pursue teaching, and what did you find so rewarding about it?
Well, you know, when I use this term, I hope you understand, I was called to this profession because it's like ministry to me, you know, and in my classroom, I didn't just teach about the subject matter, I also taught about how to apply this to everyday life. I taught life skills also, because many times the kids would say, Miss Williams, what does that have to do with me getting a job? And I would say, I'm glad you asked. So I would put my lesson plan on the side and start to talk to them about how this was applicable to everything that they would do. And they talked and they asked, well, I mean, I'm not going to go into that field. I said, but if you, let's, for example, if you're in an office and a conversation is going on about a country and you don't know the name of it, will you say, is that the next candy, is that the new candy bar or the latest dance? Wouldn't that And so then they would get it. You know, you had to say something funny. And they say, oh, yeah, I don't want to be stupid.
You know, it sounds like you wrapped your students in care and compassion, much like the community where you grew up wrapped themselves around all the children.
Yes. And I remember when I was hired, it was a room of people. And they asked the question, what will you do different than to make a difference in the students' lives? And so I said, I'm going to care. I know, you would think I would say something. Care. They took this word and they said, I'm going to use that for my subject next week. I have to do a speech. I thought, what is so different about this word?
Right.
And that is the thing. You do have to care for your students, and you have to teach them. You have to discipline them, but they got to know that you care for them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, so kind of following in on your school career, you're very well known in Marin City as a community leader.
Yes.
In 1995, you started working with Pastor Fred Small, Bob Hunter, and Denny Locke-Brousseau on a project. Right. What was that project?
Bridge the Gap. And now we went from Bridge the Gap to Bridge the Gap College Prep.
Okay.
We started in the church with just volunteers and about 6 students doing one-on-one tutoring. We still have that element, but we have 11 people on the board. We had 3 people on the board then. And we serve 160 students after school and in the evening still with that one-on-one tutoring, because that is like the glory of our program. And now we are working with 4th grade through 12th. And we have a high school program where we help kids to prepare for college also.
Okay. So then 11 years later, you were a founding board member of the Hannah Project for Academic Achievement.
Yes.
Our viewers may remember that Betty Hodges, the CEO of that organization, was inducted in the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. So tell me a little bit more about that organization, and you know, perhaps explain the differences between Bridge the Gap and the Hannah Project.
Okay. Betty Hodges, my good friend and partner in crime, she's always just giving me a little bit of what she wants to do and say, come on board. So how can you turn her down? So she named this program after the woman in the Bible, because Hannah pushed until something happened. And that's the way Betty is, and that program has been built on that kind of push. And so the Hannah Project and Bridge the Gap are somewhat the same, but they serve like a different different kids. You know, some kids won't go, and Betty does not have an after-school program, nor does she deal with the younger grades. Bridge the Gap. At the church program, which is the night program, it starts at kindergarten, all the way, and so that's a different level, and then the after school starts at 4th grade. So Betty mostly deals with middle and high school students, and she does the homework after dark. And plus she has a college program. The Hannah Project has a college program that gives scholarship all through the 4 years if they keep the grades up. And she has funding for that. You have homework, you have Saturday school, and we honor all the graduates every year, have a program, and then give them, if they are going off to college, then they get their stipend and their scholarship for that year. It's just a wonderful program. And not only that, she has an art gallery there with so many cultural programs in and out of that.
The Hannah Project really is kind of a community center. It's a
gathering.
It's a gathering place
yes,
for people
it is.
in the community.
And many wonderful programs has happened there, and not only that, there are meetings. Even now, this group that's dealing with education and educators from all around the county is called Save the Generation, and we're meeting there. And Betty is the glue that's kind of put that together and holding it together.
And that really is to address really some of the declining and very troubling test scores with kids coming out of Marin City going into Tamalpais High. Yeah.
And that is our concern.
Yeah.
And as an educator, as a community person, as a person that raised 2 men in the community, I know how important that is. And we have to have the surrogates.
Right. And that's not a long-term problem in Marin City, as I understand, that these, just in the last few years, these test scores have dropped dramatically.
Yes. And so we are trying to get to the root of that. We have a lot of people on board. People all over the county are coming because they're concerned. And I think that we are on to doing something that will help to really bridge that gap.
Okay. Well, knowing that you and Betty are involved, I have a lot of confidence in that you'll be able to turn that around. So one of the other big projects that you were involved with in Marin City was the founding of the Marin City Community Development Corporation, the CDC.
Yes.
So can you tell our audience members what the purpose of this organization is, and what role have you played in its development? And it's quite a number of years old now.
Yes, it's 35 years old.
Okay.
Yes, 35 years old, maybe a little bit more. But the vision and the mission of this organization is to do economic development with the concentration on making sure that the residents are able to get low income housing. Also, workforce development is our big thing. And we are so, I would say, proud of a program that now we contract with the Department of Rehab. And we do that program, whereas they send their clients to us. We train them, because some of the clients, and it comes from all over the county. This is not just Marin City, all over the county. And what we do, we train them, we prepare them for the job readiness. Then we send counselors out to monitor and to be with them until they are ready to stand on their own.
So what kinds of jobs are the people coming through the program doing?
Yeah. Many of them are going into the offices doing, general clerical. We have the construction training, where we train, and the women are starting to participate in those classes. And we've had young men to come out of this construction training program and work on a bridge and all over the state, actually.
And those are good paying jobs.
They're good. Oh, construction is hard work, but they pay you. And they're able, after the training, they're able to get in the union. It's a contract with the union. And so those classes are happening right on our grounds, right in Marin City.
I think that's just absolutely marvelous.
Yeah, and I want to back up a little, but our main thing, we do workforce development and economic development, which, workforce development is under that umbrella. But we are proud that we were able to partner with a developer and build a shopping center.
The Gateway Shopping Center.
Gateway Shopping Center and the Ridgeway Apartments. I mean, and we are no longer in the shopping center business, but we are still in the ground lease with the Ridgeway Apartments, in which the agency is able to receive income from that.
That's great. I know their new executive director, Melissa Cadet, very well, and she has just joined the YWCA board, so we're really excited to have
you're
her.
Blessed. She's awesome.
She is awesome. She's a very, very strong voice on our board, and we're really lucky to have her.
Yes, we're lucky to have her as our executive director.
That's right.
And
That's right.
We pulled her out of Sacramento.
That's right. And you may not know this, but she had actually been the executive director of the Sacramento YWCA for a 5-year period and really turned around a struggling association. So
she told us that.
Yeah. So I have tremendous respect for
Me
her.
too.
So one of the things that we talked about earlier was your singing. And I know gospel music is a very important part of your life.
Yes.
And you once sang for Bishop Desmond Tutu of South Africa at the Marin Civic Center. And I wondered, would you mind singing just a little something for us?
And he's Nobel Peace Prize winner, Bishop Desmond Tutu, yes. A little bit of song.
Just a little.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All in Marin County.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm gonna let it shine. All in Marin County. I'm gonna let it shine. All in Marin County. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Well, I can just feel the spirit in you when you're singing, and I know that church and your spirituality has been very, very important to you. And I wondered if you could just speak about that and the importance that church and spirituality has played in your life.
Well, that's who I am. It's my lifestyle. I remember my son saying to me, "Mom, do you have to put that in all that we talk about?" I said, "Well, I can't put it down and pick it up, put it down, pick it up. It's who I am." I said, so because just like when I talk to young people, I talk to them about integrity and about that you're not just a body, that you know it starts inside, and so that was instilled in me as a kid, and I know that is the one thing that has kept me grounded, is knowing that I don't just have to lean on myself. I don't have to just depend on myself, that I have help, and that I can pray, and that I can talk to other people and be encouraged, and I can be an encouragement. So it is a lifestyle, it's who I am, and I would recommend it to anybody. And the church, PICF Church, Pastor Marcus Small, who's now the pastor, who's the son of the late Pastor Fred Small, who was the pastor for 56 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And he taught me so much. I would say that Pastor Small taught me probably the most that I know in terms of spiritual stuff. And his son is even more into this. He does the deep research and stuff. So he's really, and a young man that is really, and the transition from when Pastor Small passed 13, that's 2 years ago or 3. That's 3 years ago. It's just, you know how churches sometimes, if a pastor passes, it just was a smooth transition. So we've been blessed, yeah.
Oh, it certainly sounds so.
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious, what drives you to take on so many leadership roles?
Well, I'm a servant, Jane. I mean, and if I'm asked to chosen to lead, then I can do that too. But I try to walk a walk of humility, and I see myself as a servant, not as a person that I'm over you. And many times, I think it's because of that humility that you listen to people. You know, people want you to hear them. They don't. You can't know everything, and so that respect for others, that humility. I'm a servant leader, and so I think that if those ingredients have been a part of making me a leader, if you will call me that.
Well, I certainly think that this country could use more servant leaders.
And I think so too, really, because, you know, it's too much. It's a lot going on in the world, and they, you know, this hardness just won't do it. I mean, you got to look at yourself, take assessment. You have to step back sometime and say, do you think you are always right? Some people think everything they say is right. It may or may not be. Give someone else a chance. Yeah.
That's a very mature attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I was interested, going back a little bit to Marin City. You know, you've been involved in the community for many, many years. You've done some incredible things in that community. And, you know, I was curious, in your opinion, what do you think the top community needs are in Marin City today?
You know, I thought about this a lot, and the young people, there's a great need. I mean, not only education, but they just need this wraparound service. Our young people, that is, and I asked another person, and that was their number one too, our youth. And I know that this is not just a Marin City problem. Our youth really the youth all over this country need our help. We got to pay more attention. Many of these homes don't have fathers. And so I have been talking and using this term forever, and I pretty soon I'm just going to start this program myself. But I think that we need what we call a surrogate program. Not just a mentor, but someone that will go beyond just taking them out and talking to them once a month or something.
So someone who's acting as a surrogate father.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it could be a male or female, but just to stand in the gap, because I know as a teacher that, you know, they've got to have someone to follow up when they leave the school or leave a program. They've got to have someone to help them to take it to the next level, and most of that began right in the home.
Sure, and I think in today's world, it's much more difficult for a young person to, so to speak, launch themselves.
That's true, and there's so much distraction. The media, the phones, it's just so much. And so we just have to help them get through all of that. Because sometimes they don't know how to get through that maze.
Right.
And so
also, you know, helping them to understand how to form healthy relationships.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And well, that's just one. The other one would be housing. We still, you know, we need housing for our people. And that's another issue. And then we're dealing with, you know, their housing situation where there may be some changes in the public housing, that, and so we're dealing with that, and people are scared. Yeah.
Oh yes, because there, some of the housing that was built in Marin City, of course, was not built to be permanent housing.
Right.
It was built during World War II, and
yes.
was really housing designed for the shipyard workers at Marin ships.
Right.
So I have heard quite a bit about the concerns.
Right, because it's very expensive to live in Marin County, and so if these people are displaced, where do they go?
Right.
So that is
Florence, unfortunately, we are out of time, and I want to thank you for sharing your stories from your incredible life with us.
Yes.
And I thank you, viewers, for tuning in. The Marin Women's Hall of Fame is a project of the YWCA, San Francisco and Marin. If you would like to know more about the program, please visit our website, www.mwhf.org. And thank you.